I saw a post recently that was shared in the Red Dead Redemption sub, but it's originally from a sub called Kids Are Fucking Stupid, which, you can imagine, I agree with that sentiment. It's a clip of some kids being asked what's the worst game they have ever played, and two of these kids say Red Dead Redemption 2, which, like a fucking stab to the heart. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. The first game I love a lot as well, and to hear someone say it is one of the worst games they have ever played, I have to seriously question their mental capacity. But then I remember these are kids. The two kids that said RDR2 is one of the worst games they have ever played don't look to be more than like 10 at most. And to an extent, I get it. These are kids that are likely just used to shit like Fortnite, non-stop action, and a non-stop source of stimulation. Whereas the Red Dead games are slow burn, dialogue-heavy games, and a lot of the games are you just riding around on a horse, going from mission to mission, or just exploring the open world. Could this be indicative of how our attention spans, especially children's, is getting worse? Absolutely. A lot of kids are practically raised on TikTok and spend most of their days just fucking endlessly scrolling through the garbage, attention span ruining videos that are hosted on that app. So when a child is used to content that doesn't last longer than like a minute, probably even less than that, do I expect them to have the attention span to enjoy a game that is laden with cutscenes that can last multiple minutes? No, I wouldn't, but even factoring out plagues like TikTok from the equation, I still wouldn't expect the average kid to really enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2. Because, quite simply, the game just isn't marketed towards them. One, it's an M-rated game. I know that doesn't stop kids from enjoying games like GTA and Call of Duty. But the Red Dead games are kind of on a different level. They ask for more of the player's patience than those games do. There's a much bigger emphasis on the characters and story, and I wouldn't expect a child's still developing brain to be able to fully grasp all of the heavy concepts and subject matters that are in these games. And yet there were so many replies under this video saying, yep, we're doomed. These kids can't appreciate an obvious masterpiece because it doesn't cater to their fucked attention spans. And I'm like, no shit, because this game isn't made for kids, so I don't expect kids to enjoy the game. It's almost like your taste in media develops and grows over time as you yourself develop and grow. When I was a kid, my favorite show was SpongeBob. Now I'm in my 20s and my favorite show is The Sopranos. Now, I still love myself some SpongeBob, don't get me wrong. Well, my favorite cartoon these days is Courage the Cowardly Dog. But I can now also appreciate shows with heavier subject matters and themes that are much slower paced because I myself fit into the target demographic those shows are meant for. I have an 11-year-old cousin who also loves SpongeBob. When he's not killing his brain with TikTok, he's most likely watching SpongeBob, and his reaction to The Sopranos would probably be, why do I have to watch this depressed mob boss talk to his therapist? This is so boring. And I wouldn't blame him for having that reaction because the show wasn't made for his demographic in mind, just like how the Red Dead games and other games of its ilk aren't made for that demographic in mind. The video in question that I'm talking about is a classic example of rage bait, and I initially fell for it. At first I was like, how could these stupid fucking kids not like such an obvious masterpiece? And then the more rational side of my brain kicked in, and I was like, oh yeah, because the game wasn't made for them. And then I began to think, would I even be any better if 8-year-old me were to somehow be able to play Red Dead 2? At that time, my favorite game was a game called Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island. Now, these days as an adult, I don't like that game very much. But as a kid, holy shit, that would be almost exclusively what I would play. It starred SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Timmy Turner. The game was stupidly easy and horrendously short, so it was perfect for me as a kid. And this goes back to what I said earlier about tastes evolving and changing as you grow older. Back then, a game like that appealed to me because I was the target demographic for a game like that. And now, a game like Red Dead 2 appeals to me because I'm an adult now and I fit into the target demographic that game specifically caters to. So I have no reason to believe that the same won't happen with these kids. They're prepubescent, their brains are still developing. I don't expect them to forever remain with the same mindset. So I think it's stupid to get mad at the video I'm talking about. One, you're giving the video the exact reaction it wants out of you. A video eliciting an angry response out of you means you're more likely to engage with the video in the form of commenting under it or sharing it, which I guess I'm no better because I have the video linked in the description, mainly for context purposes, but even still, learn by what I say and not as I do, I suppose. But above all else, would you have been any better as a kid? Were you mostly consuming adult media back then? I highly fucking doubt it, and the kids of today aren't any different. Trust me, children are annoying in many different regards. I am sure you're very well acquainted with how much kids annoy me by this point. But when it comes to this specific issue, I don't see much of a point in getting mad, and this is coming from someone who has made more than one video about how much kids annoy him, so that should really be telling you something. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.